Hello, everybody. This is me again. I would like to cover chapter 14 for the last unit, unit 9, on oligopoly. This is the third market structure we talked about: perfect competition, monopoly, now oligopoly. And I want you to read it very carefully because maybe half of the final exam or quiz is based on oligopoly. And this is a very interesting topic, and I hope you would enjoy it. Please review it. And if you have any question, please send me email. As I said, I will be traveling overseas for a conference. Internet access will be very much limited, and also time differences. So I would suggest reviewing these videos rather than having a live chat. I'm going to give you credit for it. You don't have to do any alternative assignment for this, for both 9 and 10 unit. Let's get started. So what is oligopoly? Oligopoly is a market that is dominated by a small number of firms. Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, for example, competition among these two companies. This is oligopoly. Or airlines industry in the United States, or cable companies can be a good example of oligopoly. Very common market structure in the United States where each dominant firms have a significant market share. Maybe we'll look at how we calculate market concentration and market shares for businesses like this. So as you can see, monopoly and perfect competitions are at the extreme end, and you have monopolistic competition and oligopoly somewhere in the middle. So studying the behavior of oligopoly is complicated because it is not a single firm considering its cost and pricing in a vacuum, because you have to think about what others also doing in order to stay dominant, and also how much to charge depending on other firms competing with you. But in a monopoly and perfect competition case, the pricing strategy is quite easy to understand. So the profits of a large firm depends heavily on the action taken by the other large firms. So there is some interdependence among these businesses. Good example of this would be, look, Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T competing. The imperfect competition. No one firm has a monopoly, but producers can affect market prices. This is some kind of interesting aspect compared to other market structures. To get a better picture of market structures, economists often use the HHI index, the Herfindahl-Hirschman index, HHI. Actually, the Justice Department in the United States uses HHI when they have cases of merger between companies to see whether the merger case creates a huge market dominance which probably affect consumers. So the Justice Department uses this as a signal to approve or disapprove merger cases for companies. You can go to the website and see the complete guideline. So what is HHI and how do we calculate that? HHI, for example, if there are 3 firms with 60%, 25%, and 15% of market share each, then the HHI index will be the square of these percentiles or percentage figures. 60 square, 25 square, 15 square, you get 4,450. The maximum you get is for a monopoly, where there is 100% market concentration. If you square it, you'll get 10,000. See, here is the Justice Department guidelines. You can review in the website. You can also practice this HHI index as an example, but straightforward. You just square each market share here on the last column: 67% square, 18% square, 11% square, 3% square, and 1 square. And you have to add them together to get the HHI index. And the answer is E. So if you're looking at the HHI index by industry, look, the PC microprocessor, the largest firms, AMD and Intel, they have like the HHI index of 6,000. And you can see also the automobile and cell phone companies and carriers and game consoles and household warehouse stores, as you can see. Good example. So some of the key issues of oligopoly market can be understood by having a duopoly case. A duopoly means an oligopoly consisting of only two firms to make life easy. Okay, you don't have to study 3, 4 firms at the same time. It would be complicated. So take a simple case, which is a duopoly case. Two businesses competing to one another. So what would be the outcomes? The outcome of two businesses could be what? Cooperation. You either cooperate or fighting each other, basically. Non-cooperative solution or cooperative solutions. But where would be the equilibrium? Are you going to cooperate or not cooperate? It depends. It depends on the game structure, the payoff matrix, which we're going to discuss in this unit. The extreme case of collusion, the strongest form of collusion is what? Cartel. If firms cooperating each other, they form basically a collusion. The extreme side of that is cartel. You know, cartel, the OPEC is a good example. The oil producing countries, which has an agreement to restrict level of production and enjoy higher profit. Non-cooperative behavior is also a possibility in the game theory. Firms ignoring the effect of their action on each other's profit. So which solution is going to end up having non-cooperative or cooperative solution? Again, depend on the game structure or the payoff matrix. So in order to analyze the competition between these two firms or duopoly cases, we apply what we economists call this game theory. It's the study of the behavior in the situations of interdependence of businesses, a way of predicting outcomes in a very strategic situations like oligopoly cases. Very interesting discipline, to be honest. For example, let's say there are two businesses, AJ on the top and ADM here. Okay, there are two businesses. If they produce 30-30, they may end up having 180-180. Okay, if it is 30 and 40, they have 200 and 150. If they have 40 and 30, they will have 200 and 150. That was a mistake. So that was 150. On the bottom right-hand corner, in the bottom, it should be 160 and 160. So some of you probably say, hey, they will end up having 180 and 180, right? Because this is the maximum mutually the maximum they can get. 180 plus 180 means 360, better than 200 and 150, which is 350. So the combined profit of 360 is a more desirable and natural outcomes. But guess what? They don't settle in that highest maximum profit because of these different game structures. For example, if ADM, for example, produces 30, AJ has an incentive to produce 40 because AJ can enjoy 200 million profit. If ADM decided to produce 40 and AJ wanted to do 160, which is in this case would be producing 40. So producing 40 is becoming a dominant strategy for AJ. Regardless of what ADM is doing, either 30 or 40, it is paying off for AJ to produce 40. The same thing for ADM. Regardless of what AJ is doing, ADM would be preferable to produce 40. So which means both of these cases have a dominant strategy. So guess what? They end up having 160, 160, and non-cooperative solutions if they play these games for once. You see? Rather than enjoying 180, they end up cheating. They become cheating. You know, producing 40, end up 160 each. So if they play these games for a number of times, tit for tat may happen. If you do bad things for the first time, then I'll do it whatever you did in the first time, right? So they know that if one cheats the first time, they will be cheating forever. So they end up non-cooperative solution, which is not good for both businesses. So guess what? They need to come to the table and decide, look, we are playing this game for a number of times. If one of us is going to cheat, we end up cheating forever, which is not good for both of us. So while we in the first place cooperating, then they will be ending up cooperating and producing 30 each and enjoy $180 for each profit. So playing a game once versus playing multiple games, the equilibrium may be different. In this case, if they play these games once, they will end up having 160, a non-cooperative solution called Nash equilibrium. If you have ever seen a movie, A Beautiful Mind, and you see what Nash actually accomplished, and now we named the equilibrium after his name. Nash equilibrium means a non-cooperative solutions in a game theory settings. I hope you have some understanding of what is oligopoly market structures and their competitions. And we also study how to calculate market concentration using HHI index and the game theory setups like this, which is called a payoff matrix, to analyze and identify dominant market strategies, and also studied a non-cooperative solution called Nash equilibrium. So in your exam, if a game setting like this is presented to you, you should be able to add up the outcomes and define what to be the Nash equilibrium. And I hope this presentation would help. If you have any question, please let me know. Otherwise, please review and let me know if you have any concern. Thank you very much, guys.